What's up, Exit the Matrix family? Bob here. Hope you're having a great day, great night, great morning, whenever you happen to see this. I wanted to speak today about censorship. I think this is something that's on everybody's minds, especially people that go against the grain with their thinking. Especially those that see through the matrix, especially those that threaten the current power structure with their way of thinking. Now, let's be real. Historically, people have never had a freedom of speech. If you look at all the ancient cultures, you were not allowed to speak out against the king, the emperor, the Khan, whoever the leader and their administration was. In fact, it was usually pretty harsh because uprisings were caused by people talking, by people building a consensus with other people against the tyranny of the current ruler and his administration. His or hers, I should say. There were some corrupt queens and such too in the past. So they can't allow it. So a lot of times in the medieval times and even further back, biblical times and such, you were executed for speaking out against authority. And some people would come back and argue, well, not necessarily all places. Like, look at Greece. Look at debating and philosophy. There was a high art in Greece, and I would say, well, you're actually wrong. If you've ever studied Socrates, you would understand that even top philosophers were not spared by their governments for speaking out. It is the highest crime you can do against a tyrannical government is to speak out against it and to build a consensus with the population against them. That's what causes uprisings and revolutions. That's what causes their power to erode. So they have to control the minds of the people. They have to police the minds of the people and the voice of the people. America, for a short while, was a beacon, was a new idea of rights, that your rights were derived from the Creator, from God, and not from man. This was a new type of thinking. This was never something before that was seen much on the earth. Even after the Magna Carta, for the most part, people still didn't have this full freedom of speech and such. It helped, but the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and the original Constitution was one of the crowning achievements of humanity, for once leveling out the power to the people. And we know what happened through, the next 150 years, that got eroded. Government, see, people in power, people that crave power over others, are mostly psychopaths or sociopaths. And I know that sounds overgeneralized, but it's the absolute truth. There's a certain mechanism, a certain trait, perhaps even genetic marker in people that crave power over others. that crave control over others. And because they're psychopaths, sociopaths, and hardcore narcissists, they cannot be questioned. To question them is a threat to their authority. And so just what you've watched in the United States, we no longer are protected under the Constitution. In fact, if you really want to be real about all this, America's a corporation. It's been a corporation for quite a while now, since the late 1800s with the 14th Amendment. So there's a reason they call you a U.S. citizen. You're a citizen of the corporation. You're no longer an American. An American is a sovereign entity that still resides under the law of the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. The original Constitution, because the 14th Amendment turned America into a corporation. So once that happened, that moved the power out of the people's hands into the corporation's hands. It was all done through lawfare and politicians and psychopaths, like usual. And they will not teach you this in school because you're under the illusion that you're an American, but you're actually a U.S. citizen. You're a human resource. You are a collateral on the debt to foreign central bankers. You are cattle on the books, literally, in the law of the sea, maritime law. You are cattle. You are a product. If you want to get a great breakdown of how the speechcraft, which is a type of witchcraft, because let me go back a second. Jordan Maxwell, look him up. He explains the breakdown of the law of the land and the law of the sea, maritime law. And he breaks down how our words have been written in our laws to bind us through spellcraft, through speechcraft. Get it, people? Spelling a word, spelling. The English language was designed to control the masses. Jordan Maxwell is a great one. I guarantee you watch about 3 or 4 of his long videos where he can actually delve deep into this stuff. It'll blow your mind, people. And I don't have the time in this video to break it all down, but you need to go look him up, look up his work, and you're going to get up to speed with what I'm talking about. So, our laws now, we are under lawfare. And basically what lawfare is, it's controlling speech. It's manipulating our laws in an illusionary way that gives you the illusion that you're free and that you have free speech, but in all actuality, you're cattle, you're a slave, and they control your speech. Now, yes, when you're on your own, you can say whatever the hell you want, right? But as soon as you think there's some authority around or you're being spied on, being recorded possibly, you're going to really quick censor yourself, right? And I get it, people. I have to do it, especially on Facebook. I have not seen a more censorship-heavy platform than Facebook. Let's be real. Perhaps Twitter was worse before, under Jack Dorsey, but Facebook is an absolute totalitarian platform. And it's incremental, it's little by little, people. They take away your rights little by little, just like the boiling a frog in water, you just barely turn up that heat just a little at a time. That's what they've been doing with us. And these lawyers, these judges are all placed in power by corrupt politicians like the Supreme Court. They're placed like state Supreme Courts. And the lawyers all come from the Ivy League schools that have secret societies and groups that handpick who these lawyers are going to, what firms these lawyers are going to go to and who they're going to work for. Basically, they handpick the ones that are going to control their tyranny or continue their tyranny and are going to continue the lawfare against the Constitution and natural law, against the law that we are born with by the Creator of all. Because these people are demonic. They don't work for the source of all creation and energy. They work for the God of this realm, for the Old Testament God. And it just so happens that His chosen people are a high percentage of the lawyers and politicians. Can you imagine that? I can't imagine that. It's just a happenstance. No, it's all planned, people. You really want to follow back where all this comes from? It's not that hard. You just have to take your blinders off. But see, that's the thing. You're afraid to. In fact, these chosen people, you can't even speak about them. They're the most protected people on earth in most countries. Remember that hero of the right, Ron DeSantis? Oh, yeah. He actually passed a law in Florida that you'd literally get jail time and fine for speaking out against these, against Yahweh's chosen. And yet, a lot of you dummies are still out there worshiping Yahweh as your, as Christ, as the supreme God, right? You worshiping the demiurge. Well, His people got you under slavery. In fact, they have another special book if you ever look into it, and it's the main book that they actually follow. Your cattle. And it just so happens that according to our laws, we have been made cattle. As soon as we became a U.S. corporation, we all are viewed as cattle. Not as sovereign American citizens, as U.S. corporate citizens. To get married even, you've got to get a license from the corporation. Because a marriage contract is a business contract between two people. And to be able to do this business on the side, you've got to get it okayed by the corporation. That's what licenses are for. See, people, you have to go to the corporation for your rights to be allowed to hunt and fish, to drive, transportation, free movement, to start a business, to get married. You got to get a license. You don't know where that comes from? Well, that comes from the fact that you're a human resource, that you're cattle, that you're a product of the U.S. corporation. And this is worldwide, people. This is worldwide. But the next step is they want to make you a global citizen. See, they want to do away with these country powers, and they want to make it all a unified world dictatorship. Where everybody in the world is under the dragnet of a global government that sees you as cattle, as a human resource. And what happens with a corporation when they have too many workers and they don't need that many? Because maybe they're replacing their workforce with AI and robotics. Well, you terminate those employees, right? You terminate. It's all in the language, people. See, the English language has been designed to bind us. There's a reason why English is the main spoken language across the earth. Now, growing up, I never realized this stuff. It's the language you're born into, right? Well, these people that rule the world from the shadows, they understand the laws of the universe. They understand the laws of quantum physics and the hermetic laws of energy. They understand that the voice creates sound resonance and wave and sound forms and light forms. And they understand that directly affects the quantum field. Now, you can connect, or you can use the quantum field for negative or positive, because this is a dualistic world. So words can be designed in a way to bind you or to free you. So what they've done is they built a whole law, a whole vocabulary around us to imprison us, to bind us, to mesmerize us. A matrix within the matrix, right? They figured out how to use our own creative abilities, the power of our voice, to bind us, to enslave us, to control us. And this was all done on purpose. I mean, like I said, it's all in the word. I mean, even in the English language, it's telling you when you're writing, you're spelling, spellcraft. And the more consensus, the more cohesiveness they get with the spoken word, the more powerful the spell is, because you're combining the energies and the consciousness of more than one person, and it becomes powerful. This is why communists always like to start their revolutions and their overthrow of governments through color revolutions, through going to the people and getting the people to rise up as a mob. You'd be surprised how few people it takes to overthrow a government. Once you start getting a consensus of people speaking with the same, basic words and having the same beliefs and their energy being directed in the same way. Now, sometimes that can be good if it's a revolution for freedom and good, like the American Revolution, or it can be a Bolshevik revolution, putting people under tyranny and total government dominance. What we're watching right now in America is a type of color revolution going on right now. And it just so happens that most of your social media companies and their employees, their human resources, are all helping push it. People, we've got to learn about our powers and who and what we are. Don't you know you're gods? Not God. You're the children of God. You're gods. And God has endowed you with the powers of creation. You would create your children to do as you, right? And even greater. Just like Yeshua taught. That you can cast out demons, that you can heal the sick, that you can even move mountains, that you can do greater than him. I know that's blasphemous to a lot of your current day Christians because they don't actually study the Bible. And they're under this assumption that they're lowly sheep. What's the difference between cattle and sheep? Not much. Both dumb animals that have to be led, protected, controlled, and eventually you're led to the slaughter and you're fleeced. If you're a sheep, first they fleece you, then they kill you. Kind of interesting, ain't it? Geez, it's kind of like being an American or basically any citizen around the world at this point under your tyrannical governments. They fleece you, right, through taxation. And then they give you certain mixtures and stuff to start culling the herd once they feel the herd's gotten too big. But you'll go sit in church, right, and be told you're a dumb sheep and that you need to just follow the sheep herder, right? Well, that sheep herder, for those of you that are Christians, is not Yeshua, the one that was trying to teach you how to escape the matrix and was trying to teach you the truth of our reality and how to come into your power as a child of God. No, you believe in the Roman Catholic, the powers of the times created Jesus Christ figure, who told you to be a sheep and who told you to give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. And of course, they built a whole structure around that belief system about building the church and such. Yeshua he was against church. He was against the structure of religion. He said you don't need religion. You just speak to the Father. The temple's in your head, within your forehead. It's the temple is where the seat of your soul is, the pineal gland. That's the connection point between spirit and the operating system known as the brain and the body connection. That's the temple, not a building built by man that has deals with the ruling elite, with the government to further control you and tax you if you're dumb enough to tithe. Oh yeah, dude. Trust me, church was the greatest invention ever for the Romans. I mean, it was fantastic. They moved the rulership from the Caesar to the Pope. And they figured out how to double tax, how to double fleece people. Because once Christianity became the religion of the land in Rome, now you got to pay your taxes to the government, and you're actually manipulated into tithing 10% of your income. So you're getting double tax, dummy. Do you not realize it, you dumb sheep? You fleeced sheep. You get fleeced every year. Then you get a little tax return back thinking it's like you saved some money and you're getting some back. No, dummy. You're getting back a small percentage of what you paid in the whole year. They fleeced you 30% of your income. And you get a little $1,000 back stipend and you feel like you're time to go buy a new TV. I heard they got a new Fox News commentator. I heard that one dude on CNN, that Maddow dude is really has some great stuff to talk about. Now I got a bigger TV to watch it on. People, the power's in your voice. That's why they censor you. Don't you get it? Even Genesis says that God spoke creation into being. Now, we can argue about Genesis as far as what Genesis is about and such, but there is truth in that. If you read the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, it to the T explains the power of the voice, of sound resonance, and how it interacts with the quantum field. You got to start learning, people. You got to start coming into your power. See, people under righteousness demanding their rights be given back demanding that we are no longer going to be slaves to a system that's parasitic and predatory, that is eating away at our rights every day through lawfare. Once you can actually figure out that paradigm, then we can overcome and we can overthrow these tyrants, because our combined voices, the waveforms that puts into the quantum field, will change things. The quantum field will obey us, because that is the law of the universe. And that is how we get our power back. That's how we overthrow their shackles, their tyranny on our minds. And they fear this. Look at these so-called government officials. When they start getting called out at press conferences and at city councils, and yes, people, the corruption's down to your city and your counties and your towns, because the same type of people with the same mentality that crave power also crave it on a smaller level, on a local level, not just on a state and federal level. It's time to wake up, people. But watch these politicians. When they start getting called out en masse, they scurry away like little rats, like dogs with their tails between their legs, because they're cowards and they're demonic, and they know it, and they know what they're up to, and they know that they're psychopaths, and they don't want their game to be uncovered. So I need to go into this a lot more, people. This is a subject that you can delve heavy into, but I'm telling you, go research Jordan Maxwell. You know, bless him. He passed away. He's back home 2 years ago. Poor guy, end of his life, he lost everything. That's what happens to truth teachers many times. They end up desolate. Wife leaves them because they can't. They want to just live in the matrix. Children leave them because they want to live in the matrix. Their community cuts them off because they want to live in the matrix. And of course, it's harder and harder to earn income when you fight the system. The corporation don't like dissidents. It wants dumb cattle and sheep that do what they're told to do. And unfortunately, he pretty much died pretty much penniless, broke, 1-bedroom apartment, barely scraping by. The only thing that kept him alive were his followers that donated money to him and kept him going. But he was an amazing person, and you'll love his teachings, I guarantee you. And a lot of what I've been teaching people will start to make sense when you start learning the symbolism that has come down through the mystery schools since the beginning of time, all the way from Atlantis and possibly further back than that. The Hermetic teachings, you need to learn them. They tell you in church that that's all demonic. Don't study the occult. Don't study those. No, dummy. You need to study that stuff, because guess what? Your church is using those same occultic symbols against you. So you need to realize this, and you need to learn these things. So anyways, hey guys, I'm here at work. I got to go. I love you guys. I appreciate you, and I will talk to you later.